First thing, let's talk about the realignment stuff. I mean, what was your reaction when you heard about these two massive programs coming into the conference and from kind of a distance as well?
Yeah, well, I thought it was a great move. I think, getting the LA market is excellent. Now the Big Ten is a national conference, from coast to coast, and it allows us some power moving forward. So I thought it was a great move. I know there's still a lot of things that need to be worked out, but it certainly puts us in a great place.
You mentioned C.J. Stroud when you were talking on the podium just now, how his leadership has improved, but what other areas do you want to see him improve this year? I mean, for those watching, last year was incredible. Where can he get better?
Well, you think about some of the guys who play in the NFL. They're in the NFL 10, 15, 20 years. There's always things to improve on. So this is just his second year of playing, so he's got all kinds of different areas to improve on. But I think for him, the focus just has to be to avoid a lot of the distractions and talk about, Heisman Trophy or championships, and just trying to do the best he can to win this first game against Notre Dame and then build from there. Be a great teammate, be a great leader. Approach it. And understand that it takes everybody, and when you're young, you're just trying to figure out a way to do your job. But then as time goes on and you become a quarterback and understand a little bit more experience, it takes everybody. It takes defense, takes it takes the run game, it takes everybody involved with it.
Another guy that's going to have a lot of that talk is Jackson. He's going to have a target on his back big time this year. How have you seen him kind of prepare for that? And the rest of the wide receiver room, he said it's an all-star team, basically.
Well, I think that that's why you try to have balance, because when you have balance and, people want to double team Jackson, that puts somebody else singled up, or, if they try to go to a too high coverage, that opens up the run game. And so that's why you have to have balance. You run the ball too much, they put too many guys in a box. You throw the ball too much, they take guys out of the box. That's really the idea. Now, in terms of coverage on third down, if they want to double somebody, that singles up somebody else. And so, again, that's why we need depth at the wide receiver position. That's why we need, our tight ends to be really good, running backs to be really talented, and somebody's going to be in a one-on-one situation. So we have to find that one-on-one situation. But yeah, we always try to find ways to get Jackson the ball because he deserves that, and it's our job to be creative and find ways. But he's certainly going to have a target on his back.
All right, the big question, of course, is the defense. The install went well in the spring, it sounded like. So from what you know, what have they been working on in the summer to kind of keep progressing?
Well, it's new to them, so the more that they can learn it, be around it, see it. The NCAA has allowed us a little more freedom to do some more meetings and different things this year, so we've been able to use and be a little bit more efficient in the summer, installing that, working on fundamentals and techniques that those guys are teaching, and I think our staff's doing a good job. I think our players are embracing it. I think they enjoy it. I think they like the aggressiveness of it, but also a lot of those guys are coming back for their second and third and fourth year, and so we're more experienced than we were last year.
Wasn't much harder to be less experienced than some of those guys were last year. One guy, though, that stands out, Ronnie, he's here today. How does this defense just really fit for him? It really seems like a place he'd thrive.
Well, the safeties are a big part of this defense, and a lot of times there's three safeties in the game, and there's a lot of different changes in the style of the coverages that Jim can change. And so the safeties have to be on their game, but they're very versatile. They can do a lot of things. They can play deep in coverage. They can play man-to-man. They can blitz. They can change up the looks. And so being able to come down and tackle down in the box, but also be able to play in coverage kind of, showcases his skill set. And so I think this defense really fits, what he can do.
You talk about player chemistry all the time. How's the coach chemistry with all of these new coaches you have this year?
I think we have a great staff. I think everyone gets along great. Been really impressed with Jim and Perry, Tim, and then Justin, on the offensive side. I think, the guys get along really, really well, and that'll continue to build. Preseason is even more of a bonding time. We spend a lot of time together during that time, but no, I'm very impressed, and I'm very thankful that Gene Smith and President Johnson have allowed us to go hire the best staff in America, because it's not cheap. You have to go pay, and you have to go get these guys, but a lot of it has to do with people wanting to be part of the Ohio State culture, live in Columbus, and so I appreciate all that.
My last one, unless I get divine inspiration. You mentioned, Justin, the offensive line. It's going to be good, those first five, but I know after that there's some question marks. What have you seen, or what more do you want to see from that group?
Well, Josh Fryer has had a good offseason, so he's healthy now going into the preseason. That's good. We need his experience. He's been around a little bit. Hasn't played a lot, but he's played in games, and now he's healthy, so that's great. Enoch Viamahe is another older guy that we're really counting on to help us. Zen has had a really good offseason, and there's a lot of other younger guys that are going to try to make a push into that top 7, 8, 9.
And I'm just going to ask you this: is there anything that we haven't touched on that you think is important for Buckeye Nation to know?
No, other than the fact that we just really appreciate what's going on in terms of the excitement of these games. You know, the first and last game are sold out, and I think all the games in between, there's only single tickets available. So really appreciate that, and we're going to be working hard to make sure we, put the best foot forward and play great.